All right. So, you look at how unpopular Joe Biden is, by whatever metric you measure it. Whether you're talking to people at church, your kids at school, you run into your neighbor over the fence, whatever it is, or the polling numbers, all the same. All the same. Joe Biden is the most unpopular person in the White House in my lifetime. More unpopular than Jimmy Carter. And I guess the difference would be that Jimmy Carter and his team didn't hate America completely. They didn't hate, Jimmy Carter was a God-fearing man, lousy president, but a God-fearing man who loved America, served America in the military. But right now, Joe Biden is in deep trouble. The Democrats on it. So waiting in the wings are several Democrats, including Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, who is working on a 7-figure book deal and is once again apologizing for Joe Biden, says people just don't understand how good everything is. You just don't understand how good everything is if he could just explain it better. Listen.
By a 49 to 21 margin, voters believe former President Trump will be better for their finances than President Biden. So why do you think this perception exists? How do you fix it?
We're seeing unemployment at historic lows. We're seeing take-home pay going up. I think that we have seen a lot of progress happen, inflation coming down. These are important factors that take time for people to really see the benefit from.
Cost of living is still high.
Cost of living is still high. And for a young person to buy a home, that is out of reach for more people than it has been in a long time. And so I think that all the work around affordable housing, the story that this president is going to be able to tell as people start to tune in closer as we get closer to the election is going to be powerful.
Why are things more expensive? Why is it harder to get a house? Because Democrats turned down the printing presses, churned out billions of dollars, put our debt at, what, 34 trillion and counting, or are we at 35 now, or 36? Who can remember anymore? The truth of the matter is they've squandered the money that we had in America. Your portion of the debt is $100,000, same as mine, $100,000. Do you have that? You ready to choke that up? Meanwhile, we've got a border that's wide open, millions flooding in to take advantage of a country that's already broke. By definition, America is the poorest country on the planet, $35 trillion in debt. Oh, you're the richest. No. I remember being around this part of the country saying, when listening to people, oh, General Motors, they're rich. They can never go bankrupt. They've got so much money. And that General Motors went bankrupt. If you have some notion that America isn't already bankrupt, you're a fool. We don't have money to be sending to Ukraine or 1,000 other places or for pet projects studying, the sexual activity of mice or whatever it is. Plus, the alarms are going off in the Democrat campaign because black voters are now leaving in record numbers. And they are, because they too have seen this. They've seen the illegals coming into Chicago and New York City and taking over their schools to become shelters and taking over their streets to become homeless dumps, frankly. Democrats don't admit it. Listen.
When it comes to African-American voters, I want to be very clear about this, that no administration has done as much for the African-American community as President Biden and Vice President Harris. We're talking about black wealth being up 60%. The racial wealth gap being the lowest as it has ever been in recorded history. We have to continue to take this message directly to African-American voters, and our campaign has done that.
Why can't it just be American voters? Why is it that the Democrats always have to slice and dice and make these different segments of the populace, the voting public, right? They always have to break it down. Oh, we've got this gay voting bloc and this black voting bloc and this Hispanic. Why can't it just be Americans? Why doesn't it just resonate that the economy's lousy, that we can do better, that we're too far in debt, we shouldn't spend this much money? Why can't we just do that? And the most frightening thing for millions of Americans, by the way, is Joe Biden remaining in the West Wing. Because right now it looks more and more like it will be Donald Trump against Joe Biden. And Democrats are in full panic. You want me to remind you why? Watch.
Anyway. The best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway. From Charlotte, another line going from in Florida down to Tampa of Putin's kleptocracy. Yeah. And Joan Shingang, I'm going to pronounce it, Shanga, $159 billion led. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him. The idea that Los Angeles and what am I doing here? For two reasons. One, we haven't been able to communicate it in a way that is, let me say another way. But the nature, not a solid meeting with they make a very good point. Here's the deal.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, don't you just love how he's going somewhere and he's trying to figure out where he's going? He's like, anyway. Yeah. At any rate, yeah, Joe Biden is a disaster, and that's the way that is. All right, so big week. Oh, by the way, the Lions won. Did I mention that? The Lions win. They're going to the NFC Championship. Maybe the Super Bowl for the first time ever. Talk about a miracle. Anyhow, just a little aside. We'll take a break and be right back. It's the Steve Gruber Show.